Welcome to the podcast, Raising Unstoppable Teens. I'm your host, Dr. Kimberly Shear, teen breakthrough expert and founder of Academy for Independence. And before I introduce our remarkable guest today, I'd like to just share a bit about Academy for Independence. Academy for Independence provides one-to-one customized academic coaching, learning assessments, and a jumpstart program to executive functioning skills for students from middle school through college. Because most students in school are taught what to learn, not how to learn. And knowing how you learn best can really make the difference between your teen having significant self-confidence, excellent grades, and being prepared for college. So please check out our services at our website at AFI4me.com. That's AFI4me.com. So now let's welcome my guest, Donel Wheeler, to the show. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So I'd like to read Donel's bio, and then we'll get right into the questions. I will read a short bio on Donel, and then we'll get into the questions. Donel Wheeler is 15 years old and from Fort Worth, Texas. At the young age of 12, Donel published his first book titled Unwanted under his pen name of Knox Tolbert. He published his second book, Wanted, at age 14. Both books are available on Amazon and reflect his journal entries of his entire life, living with parents who were drug addicts, being bullied, and later being raised by his grandmother, whom he credits for saving his life. He is currently taking college prep courses because he wants to attend his dream school, Texas A&M University, and eventually become an architect. Donel could have been another statistic with being a drug addict himself. Yet, his vision is for a much brighter future. Donel's message is of hope and inspiration because he changed his situation around, and he believes anyone can turn their situation around too. That's beautiful. Again, I just think it's remarkable that you've published 2 books at such a young age. That right there is an inspiration for a lot of teens. So tell us a little bit about your story and your earlier upbringing.
Well, it's how you said it. It's me growing up without my mother and father, and my grandmother's been through it for pretty much the whole time since I was 4.
Mm-hmm.
I've been homeless and everything. Lived in a car, but at the end, if you have someone who cares about you, that's all you need. And well, that's who my grandmother was, and so is my grandfather. But my grandfather's been there since 5 because I didn't really get used to him until it took me a minute to get used to him because I didn't know him at all until I got used to him. And as long as you have someone who cares about you, it's pretty much it goes from there. So
Okay. So you were living with both your mom and dad
no,
up until the age of 4, or?
no, I don't know my mother.
Okay.
When I was very young, but I remember everything since I was 3.
Wow.
So no one had to remind me of anything. I remember everything. So yeah, I lived with my father, and it was like a yellow house in Oklahoma. I remember everything about it. I lived with him, my great grandmother, my great grandfather, and my grandmother, and my stepmom.
Okay.
And I had like 3 stepmoms so far. So I started off there, and it moved on from there.
Okay. So having like 3 stepmoms, there wasn't really, and the fact that your dad was a drug addict, right? So there, and that you were homeless even. So there wasn't a lot of stability, it sounds like, kind of
Yeah.
just starting right out of the gate, basically. And then once your grandmother took you in and really played the role of loving parent, and that's when you started to have more stability, I would assume. Correct?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay, cool. So how did you deal with, and how do you deal with now, if it still applies, really being raised without your parents?
Well, it started off, it was really hard, but at at the end of it, you get through it, and you at the end, you feel like it's never have been there. Like if so for me, my journals help me. So writing, I don't really like to write, but I do it to help other people. So it's like something that's there. So like I would write, um if all right, so if I was writing, that's what would get me out from all the trouble that they caused for me.
Mhm,
So it's either that or football or a sport. Something to get your mind off of it helps.
mhm,
And so now, right now, I just write just to help people. I
mhm,
write about how I'm doing. Like the new one, Wanted, is about how I am now with my grandmother and my grandfather. So, but they're like my mother and father to me.
mhm.
And it's as long as you at the end you'll always have someone who cares about you, so it'll all work out for the best. And as long as you keep your mind positive, focus on the positive things, not the negative things, you'll be fine.
Wow, you said a lot there that I think is very noteworthy. And one is journaling, because I do feel like for many of us, that is a way to process through those kind of ugly feelings and thoughts that we might have, and just putting them out on paper. I love the fact that you even brought up getting involved in something else. Like for you, it's football. Um, and I would think within that there's, kind of a football community or some bonding there as well, which is always helpful and helps to make us feel included. And then I loved what you said that, well, two things. When you said that you don't really like writing, um, and yet this is really to help someone else. And your writing is on your story, which is very vulnerable. And the fact that you have the courage and the desire to be vulnerable with the readers and to share that out so that you can be an inspiration, encouragement, and hope for somebody else is, I mean, it's very touching, I want to say. And I think by you being vulnerable, the influence and impact that you have is even greater, because we can all connect to those to being vulnerable or kind of being naked. So just the courage you have, and the fact that you want to help so many people is through your writing is pretty um, amazing. So I just wanted to point that out because it takes
it
courage.
it really just gets my mind off of it. It's not that I don't like writing it, it's like if it gets your mind off of it, you don't know that you're doing it really.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool. And then you said too to stay positive. I do want to ask you, because um, that can take a lot of practice, I guess, because it's kind of human nature to dwell upon maybe the negative aspects, or to compare our lives with what we think. The grass is always greener, so we compare, which in the end really doesn't serve us very well. So how do you practice affirmations, or do you, when your thought might go somewhere where you really don't feel like it, you want to go, not that you're avoiding your pain, because you deal with it, but I mean,
Well,
how,
that pain's always there.
Mhm.
It's always gonna be there. But if you don't focus on it,
Mhm.
at the time,
Mhm.
like you're always gonna feel that pain. There's nothing that you can do to stop that pain. There's no medication, there's no drug that you can possibly take that will take your pain away.
Mhm.
At the end, it's always there. And at first, when you try to focus on the positive things, it's like it's like the negative. It's really hard not to focus on the negative, but at least you're getting through it, and it's not like you're. It depends on like what you're going through, but
Mhm.
like since it was my situation, like being homeless and stuff, I felt like as long as I'm still alive right now, I can always get through it. So that's like the one positive thing that you can look after. As long as you have one positive thing, that's all you really need. Because at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it'll be better.
Mhm.
So, and what I do right now is like, so my father is, I'm pretty sure, I haven't heard from him in forever, but um, the last time I heard from him, he was in the hospital for MS
Mhm.
because multiple sclerosis, and I'm pretty sure he's dying from it. But also his drinking and doing drugs, it makes it worse.
Mhm.
So the negative, I never really focused on that because he was never here for me.
Mhm.
So if he's never here for me, and I have two people who love me, I worry about them. I worry about the positive and not the negative.
Mhm.
So it's really just but whatever you put your mind to.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. So, and that is very true. We have a choice, right? We can dwell in the negative, or we can really, shift or pivot our perspective and look at the positive. And I liked what you said too. I mean, the pain for you will always be there. And I think when we try to push it away, it gets stronger. Whereas if we just allow it, accept it, give room to it a little bit, but then focus on the positive, I think it makes it a little bit easier. So,
Yeah, it's not gonna go away right away. No one can expect all that pain to go away like right away. It's gonna take time. It's
right.
gonna take a lot of time for that to happen. Like I'm 15 now. I turned 16 in 2 months. So
Mm,
I'm all that negativity now is like behind me. It took me a couple of years to get right because like you said in my bio, uh, m- I thought my grandmother loved my father more than me, and he's really never done anything.
mm,
But I, it's always gonna work out, and no matter even if she did, it wouldn't have mattered because at the end of the day, she still loved me. So it's not like it's gonna matter how much she loves me or not. She's still there for me when I
mhm.
need her. So
Yes, yes. And I think that also says a lot because she's somebody who is kind of your rock. She has your back. She believes in you.
always,
She supports you and she loves you. And when we have, even if it's just one person like that in our lives, it really can help make all the difference for us and what we focus on and what we pursue and what we dream about. So, um I don't know, I can see she's a very, very special woman, so that's awesome. Okay, so how do you feel about, I guess, your dad now, because mom isn't really in the picture, right? And you said he has MS and he's still drinking and doing drugs.
yeah.
um so is it basically your relationship with them?
I haven't heard from him
Mhm,
in forever,
mhm,
and his girlfriend. We haven't heard from her either. From the last time that we talked to him was that was the last time I talked to him was well I didn't talk to him, my grandmother does because that's
mhm,
her son, but I don't want to talk to him because that'll bring up bad memories, and the
mhm,
bad memories make everything worse.
mhm,
So I just stayed away from him. And since I was 14, I didn't have to see him anymore, but it was mandatory. I had to see him at least once a week.
mm,
Not once a week, but like once every month or something like that. I don't remember.
mhm.
Um, but that was the last time I talked to him. I haven't heard anything from him since.
Okay. Was that hard to deal with, to kind of, because you were court mandated to see him once a month? Was that difficult for you,
That
or?
that was I didn't like it. I didn't want to see him at all. But like it could be different from other people. Like if they want to see them, that's they want to see them. But like my I don't want to bring them into it, but like my cousin, I'm not saying like that's she's gonna end up like how I did. Like not like with the family issues, but like her mother. Um like once you realize what's going on, um you'll see what's good for you. And like what was good for me was not seeing him because he just caused more pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I just left him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. And it seems to me, again, you left him alone, but you were still processing through your what you needed to do. So you were taking care of yourself, which is important. It wasn't like you just left him alone and then just ignored things that you needed to work through. You actually were dealing with those feelings, which is, your journaling, and then it led to these incredible books. So that's pretty cool. And then tell me a little bit about being bullied in school, and what you were bullied about and how you handled it, because that's an issue a lot of teens face for different reasons.
Well, I'm not saying, all right, so bullying is not good at all. Like no matter what you're going through, it's not the right thing to do at all. um so when I get bullied, it was because of my parents. I didn't have parents, and I lived with my grandmother, and this and that. And so that I personally, I don't. So I also box, right, for self defense. Just
Mm,
and that also gets your mind off of things, get your anger out.
mhm,
So I box. Well, I used to, but I can't right now because of COVID and stuff.
mhm,
But so bullying, that's one thing that got my mind off of it too, was the boxing part. But always let someone know, even if like the teachers never did anything for me. I told them who was doing it. Everyone would call me a snitch for doing it.
mhm,
But I won't let someone put their hands on me.
mhm,
I self defense, pretty much. And a teacher would get mad at, or well, I would get in trouble. I'll get kicked out, or like OSS, out of school suspension. But my grandmother would get me back in because they put their hands on me. And if I can't get, they say you have to run to a teacher, tell the teacher. And then when I do that, what are they doing? They stood there and watched me get bullied one time,
mhm,
and I'm sitting here. I don't know why, and I got in trouble for it too. I
mhm,
got in trouble for getting, someone was bullying me. They put me in a headlock, and I got in trouble for it. But like it depends on like what they're doing. Like if they're saying things to you, that's different than putting your hands on you.
mhm,
So I can handle the words. You can say whatever you want to me.
mhm,
But at some points, like they would say something about my grandmother, that would get me really mad because she's the only person I really have. Her and my
mhm,
grandmother. I don't like when people talk about them.
mhm,
That gets me mad. But if you walk away from it,
mhm,
their opinion does not matter at all. What
mhm,
they say, they that can't affect you at all.
mhm. Unless you let it, which you're
Yeah.
not. So I think it's important too that, hurt people hurt. I mean, if you're hurting, oftentimes they're the ones that are hurting others. So the bully is usually somebody who has also been bullied or is definitely hurting and kind of projecting it onto you.
What I say
Um,
for that
mhm,
is like they will pick out your problems because they cannot fix their own. So
mhm,
they would pick on what you have wrong so they don't have to focus on what they have wrong.
mhm, mhm. Right. Or a lot of times they're identifying with something within you, exactly kind of what you're saying, and they can't, um, it's not necessarily a problem with you, but it's their perspective, and it's something that they see about themselves, and it's harder to take that. So it's just easier to kind of get it out on somebody else, or yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking, oh, I liked your point too, is that there are different types of bullying, and like you said, there's that, you put your hands on someone, that takes it to a different level than just words. So that's also, and then again, telling someone, and maybe it may not be the teacher. I mean, that's probably individual differences there. but definitely if you could tell a parent, or somebody that, that's somewhat in authority that you can trust, because you know bullying, it's got to stop, and so sometimes it takes extra intervention to do that. So okay, are you still being bullied now, or was
No
that
one
more?
messes with me. No one
Yeah.
messes with me because the type of bullying I had was either the words with like they would say things about my mother, or that used to bother me all the time. But she's never really been there for me, so I just gave up on that. You can say whatever you want about her. I mean, yeah, it hurts, but like I just forget about it. But putting your hands on me, no one has done that in forever
Mm-hmm.
because I will stick up for myself.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that that's the first thing you should do is fight. It's not something you want. But if someone puts their hands on me and there's no teacher around and I have nowhere I can go,
Hmm.
I'm gonna fight because there's nothing. I'm not gonna let someone beat on me,
Right.
and I'm not gonna do nothing about it.
Right. I mean, at that point, I think it's almost self-defense, right?
Yeah, but most people would say it's not self-defense,
Mm-hmm.
but they would make up an excuse how you could have got away from it this way or that way, but they're so worried about that they're not worried about what the kid actually did to me.
Mm-hmm.
So they're focused on something that I could have done or
Mm-hmm.
what the kid did to me. So no one really messes with me no more because they know I will fight back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always fighting back, it's just the fact that not letting them do it to you.
Right, right. And I think even with the words, again, if you're not really having a reaction to it, there's no power in it for the bully. You've taken
They
that
do it for the
away.
reaction.
Hmm.
Yeah, they bully you for your reaction. They
Right.
want you to react to it. If you have no reaction to it, like it doesn't bother you, they
Hmm.
won't do it no more.
Hmm. Yeah. So, okay. So we kind of touched upon this, but maybe we could go into, uh, if you have like a specific example or something, but how do you stay so positive?
Because of my grandmother and my grandfather, I know that I have someone to go home to.
Mhm.
Even if you don't, you can always rely on yourself. You always have yourself to rely on. You don't. To me, I would say I need them, but in a way, I don't need them
Mhm.
because I have myself to rely on.
Mhm.
I don't if someone's bothering me in school about my family, I don't have to go talk to them. I can go home and write. I can go home and I can do anything.
Mhm.
I can look in the mirror, say things in the mirror. I can go outside, run. I can go take a walk. Even if you're so if you like in COVID, you can't really do those things.
Mhm.
If you have a yard, go outside. Go if
Mhm.
you have animals, go play with your animals. Something to take your mind off of it.
Mhm.
Anything that takes my mind off of it. I don't really like playing video games a lot,
Mhm.
but a lot of times that will get my mind off of things.
Mhm.
But mostly writing or anything to get your mind off of it helps. That's
Mhm.
about it.
Right. So you're not so focused and going spiraling down with it. You're like redirecting your energy and focus and attention on something else that is more positive, right? So, um, okay, that's cool. That's definitely, I like that. Those are good suggestions. Okay, so being that your dad is a drug addict, and um how do you how what's your stance on drugs, and where, I mean, it's amazing that your dreams are so big and your vision is so big, given what you've been around, and still, even though if you're not talking to your father, you've still had those experiences and memories and so forth, and that he's still drinking and all of that, which is still hurts, because it's your dad. You wouldn't want that for him, but
Yeah,
you know
I don't want it for him, but he did it to himself at this
that's
point.
right. That's right. You are not responsible, and you can't change anyone. They have to do that for themselves, and have to be willing, for sure. But so how do you feel about drugs, Oh, that
Um,
scene.
well, drugs, I don't like them. Like how, like people. So for cancer now, cancer people smoke weed for cancer now or whatever thing it is. I don't even like that. I mean, you shouldn't have to take a drug to make yourself feel better. It's always going to be there no matter what you do. It's not going to solve anything. It's going to make it worse for you at
Mhm,
the end.
mhm,
So no matter how you do it, like I can name so many people right now that are like 13 and smoking or vaping or
mhm,
doing drugs, and it's not it's I'm not saying it's the parents' fault, but it kind of is, because like my parents won't let me go nowhere without them knowing exactly who I'm with or what I'm doing,
mhm,
and I have to be home by a certain time.
mhm,
And my parents are strict, but not like strict. Like they're not too concerned about what I do because I've shown them that I'm not going to do those things.
mhm,
But it's also some of the parents' fault that why kids do drugs and stuff. But it's also they think it gets their mind off of everything, but it really doesn't.
mhm,
It's just making your it's like it's making you it's not like changing who you are. Like you be the best friend that anyone could ever have, but you smoke or you drink, but that's making yourself worse.
mhm, mhm,
But I don't like drugs. I have friends that drink or smoke, but they have the respect for me not to do it around me. Like, I'll be your friend, we could be friends, and like we can hang out, but when we're hanging out and you're around me, don't do it around me.
mhm,
That's your choice if you want to or not.
mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, that's good. So did you, what I'm hearing from that, did you, and even with your grandparents, they're setting boundaries, and that's out of love and wanting to keep you safe, even though sometimes I think as teens we might look at it differently, but that's really their intention, and for most parents and grandparents. So, and I'm assuming that that is definitely your grandparents' intention. Um, so they kind of set those parameters, those boundaries, and you would definitely, what I'm hearing from that as well, as you proving yourself trustworthy. So they know that they can trust you. But did you have to set those boundaries with your friends? Like, let's say you went out and then, like and then would they want to smoke weed, let's say, and then that's when you said, hey, I just, please don't do that around me, and I, appreciate your friendship, blah blah blah, but I don't want to be around this when you're doing it. Y-
Well, all my friends read my book already. They know what
Ah,
I've been through.
okay.
So like I can name like one or two that I've told them not to do around me. Like I can name people I'm not friends with now because they try to get me to do it.
Hmm.
And um they pretty much know that I don't like that and what
Hmm.
I've been through, so they know not to do it around me. I really
Hmm.
never really had to tell anyone that I don't like that or this and that because they know what I've been through
Hmm.
and they have all read my book and they know I don't like it.
Okay.
So
So in a way, through your book, again, showing who you are and your values and what you've been through, um, people are learning about that and can respect, your friends respect that. So those things about you. And I do want to say that, the whole vaping and smoking weed and the drinking and all of that at such a young age, it actually does really change your brain and the development of the brain. And I think in the long term really has um, worse consequences than I think sometimes we realize. So, because your brain is, it's developing, so it's getting used to that stuff, and it just makes it harder for people later on. So, okay, well, very good. Um, Tell us how. Well, I want to know a little bit more about your books, okay? Because you do something very special with the royalties when people purchase your book. You do something very special to give back. And so, can you share what that is?
okay, so most of my so I also have a GoFundMe
Mhm.
and um that I totally forgot what the name of it is, but um, okay. So most of it, all right. So it either goes in three ways or two ways. So half of it always goes to my savings account for college,
Mhm.
just in case I don't get a scholarship, but I most likely will because I'm already getting emails from colleges. But and
Stop.
the other half, most of the time it goes to the homeless.
Mhm.
So I help the homeless all the time, no matter if it's my book money or it's my own money. If it's my own money, I always help them. I will buy them food. I won't give them money anymore.
Mhm.
I've learned from that because one time I saw them, and after I gave them money, I saw them alcohol or drugs or so, whatever they had. But um, I don't do that anymore. I give away food, and for Christmas, I gave them hotel rooms for the Christmas throughout New Year's, and but it goes from there or books to buy more books because I still sell them.
Mhm.
So yeah.
See, that's remarkable. And I love the fact that not only through your writing are you helping so many of us that read your book, but you're also going beyond that and helping the homeless and just contributing to making this world a better place. That's really cool. At 15. At 15. That's amazing. Okay. So tell our listeners how they can stay, connect with you on Facebook, where they can purchase your books. And also, if you do have the information about your GoFundMe and maybe a little bit how that works.
Okay, so first my Amazon. Okay, Amazon has it. Just gotta search. Well, technically, you could just go on Google and search my regular name or Knoxtober. Is mainly Knoxtober, but and like I feel like it's wherever you're at. It depends. Like here, I could search up my regular name and it'll pop right up.
Mhm.
But it'll have my book information and everything on there already.
Mhm.
So and it'll show you everything. My Facebook is Knoxtobert, Knoxtolbert, and my Facebook it has. I'm pretty sure it has everything on there. It has my GoFundMe on there and everything, like all the links on the page.
Great.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if it's still on Barnes and Noble, but Barnes and Noble, and I'm pretty sure it's still on Books a Million. But I'm not totally sure. But the last time I remember, it was on there. But they might have taken it off. I'm not sure. But Amazon definitely always has it. My grandmother makes sure they have it because the last time they didn't have it in stock, and my
Oh,
grandmother got so mad.
yeah.
Yeah, but I got it republished, so don't. I don't know if the old one got taken off
Okay.
because I had it without all the names had to be changed because of I wasn't old enough when I was 12. I couldn't have no names in there because my real parents could sue me. So I had to change it, but I got it back now with my picture on it instead of someone else's. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's on GoFundMe. On GoFundMe, I'm pretty sure it's Knoxtober too.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but everything's on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our listeners should search for Knox Tolbert on Facebook. Just put that name in the search bar, and then
Yep.
your Facebook page should come up, and
Yep.
then all the links to Amazon, the GoFundMe,
I'm pretty sure
should
all
be
of them are on Facebook.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So, okay. Well, that pretty much concludes our show. I just want to remind our listeners that this episode can be heard on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, it can be streamed, and also you can watch the interview on Voice America TV network. You just put in Raising Unstoppable Teens in the search bar. And not only this episode, but many more will pop up. And if you like this episode, we would really appreciate you giving it a positive review, a positive rating, and definitely share out to your friends and family. So again, Donnell, I'm so grateful for you being here, and all that you're doing to really inspire and help all of us, not just our future leaders of tomorrow, but even adults to feel inspired and encourage that no matter where we are in life, we can turn our situation around. And I'm just so proud of you, taking college prep courses and having just your horizon be so expansive, and that you're dreaming big, and you are off to a phenomenal start with only being 15 and having published 2 books. So amazing. So again, thank you. And here's to unstoppable teens, unstoppable dreams.